I can hear you now.
Hey,
Hey, it was me.
wow.
It was my problem. Earlier, I had Tim on, and I could hear him both in the room and on the thing, and it was going wah wah. So I turned my sound down.
All right, okay.
It wasn't you at all.
So,
I'm
so, you- so you made me feel bad for no reason.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. That's okay.
I made you feel bad because I'm obviously the biggest doofus in the world. I made so many technical errors, all the technical difficulties, me.
That's okay. I don't mind giving it the Three Stooges, the sort of the the symbols. So it's fine.
It was fun knowing that you would participate in like hand gestures.
Yeah. Well, it's a first. So
um,
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. You've been on air for quite a while, I think.
I have been, so I'm a little bit
Yeah.
loopy,
Yeah. Okay. Any
delirious.
highlights? Anything?
Any what?
Any highlights?
Highlights?
Yeah.
Yes, I got to interview or talk to John Reppion,
Fantastic.
Richard Caudry, um, Jessica Barksdale Inkland, Damien Walter was on today. We had a lovely chat about fair trade publishing and
Well,
how
so
much.
it's down from here now.
No, not at all. I Let me just tell you this. I was not expecting you to be English.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea you were English.
Unfortunately, I'm tremendously English if my voice hasn't given it away.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I don't know why. Well, the voice in my head, the voice, whenever I
The voice.
when I read people's tweets or emails or whatever, my brain assigns a voice to them.
Okay.
And if I've never heard them, the voice I imagine that they have
And
is
and what? And mine was what? Michelangelo from the Turtles, perhaps?
no, but it was an American voice.
Ah, okay. I can't. I would love to do a bad impression of one, but I don't think I could manage.
I know. If you try to do it, see, if you try to do an American voice, I'll try to do an English voice.
Ah, oh God. Um, it'd be so embarrassing.
That's what stops me too, but I'll do it
Yeah.
because,
Really?
yeah, I'll
I
go
think I think
first
it.
if you want.
I think it's better though if Americans doing English accents is probably easier than English people doing American accents. England is a much smaller place than America, so it's a lot easier. Unless you're
No,
doing
I don't think it is because
really,
there's so many English accents.
I suppose. What you
Haven't
mean,
you
like the
noticed?
yeah, yeah.
Birmingham, Liverpool, the Village, Hampshire,
Yes, yes. Well,
down there underneath,
I'm in
south.
Somerset at the moment, and there's a bit of an accent there too, so it's sort of interesting.
Okay, I'm going to try to do it, and then you'll laugh because the English people always laugh when I do it.
Do it.
One of two reactions. All right,
Go.
I'll do it. Um, the difficult thing is that you don't really know what to say when you're trying to be English because you're so focused on speaking with an English accent.
Good. Bravo. See, because the typical English thing is sort of howdy, or other such cliches. So it's really difficult for an English person, especially the only place I've been to America is Utah. You've been to Utah?
I've been through Utah. I've never stopped there.
Yeah, yeah. I've stopped there, and let's just leave it as that.
Yes, that's Mormon country. You're
Yes. So I
it,
discovered.
serious business.
Yes, but we digress. Today is about the Kickstarter and getting the funds up and stuff. So you've obviously had a busy day doing talks and so on. You're probably at the edge of your sanity. How many hours left do you have?
Uh, 18, I think.
18.
Yeah.
Or straight? Really?
Well, I'm gonna sleep for some of them because no one was gonna be watching, bro. I mean, there's a period where everyone goes to bed, even though this is global.
Yeah, it's called nighttime.
But nighttime is at a different time, depending on where you are. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's still 18 hours. Um, so you write horror,
I
as I
do.
understand it.
I do. I do. But that's a conversation for another time, Salome. So
Well, I've been having conversations with writers because, that's kind of what we do.
it
So,
is. It is. It is. But I'm very new to this, so it's the people that you deal with and the conversations you have, they're all with very seasoned professionals and very exceptional ones at that. So I'm simply the novice that's kind of crept into the party and no one's noticed I'm there yet.
well, basically, a lot of people that we publish are like that. We try to publish new writers
Yeah.
whose writing shows a lot of promise, and we want to help them. So,
I'm doomed then.
you're what?
I said I'm doomed then.
Doomed. I wouldn't say doomed. No, you're not doomed. No one is ever doomed, unless they really are. But
Well, it's a bit of self-fulfilling prophecy.
your characters are doomed.
Yes, all of them. They're all well. They deserve it. So it's fine. But because obviously, because I remember I downloaded the Cthulhu Lives. I'm a huge Lovecraft fan, and I downloaded Cthulhu Lives and thought it was fantastic. By the way, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Are you planning on any more sort of Cthulhu sort of anthologies or anything
Yeah,
like
I
that?
really liked doing that, and it was quite fun for me because, and I got a surprisingly large number of good submissions. I want to do
Yeah.
another one. We'd love to do another one.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I also noticed, obviously, for your Kickstarter, Warren Ellis is mentioned as one of the possible contributors, and he's a
Yeah.
bit of an idol of mine. I'll be honest with you.
Is he?
He
He's a,
is.
he's done another book with us. I wrote a bit of a story for. Maybe you saw this book.
Yes, I did see that indeed. Yes, I did. He's
Yeah.
fantastic. Crooked Little Vein and Gun Machine, and he's even when he's doing his comic work as well. Yeah, fantastic. I think he's a fantastic, fantastic voice. So anything with
Yeah.
his name on it, to be honest, they could put his name on toilet paper and I'd probably buy it. So,
I think a lot of people feel that way. He's a friend of mine. So,
really
yeah, I know him. I've known him
fantastic.
for quite a number of years. And when I asked him to write a story for Red Phone Box, it's the first, usually because he's my friend, I try
Mm.
never to ask him for anything. That would be a professional sort of thing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I started out by saying, I try never to ask you for anything that you'll say no to. And he was like, he looked worried.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm going to ask you for something now. And you just say no. You just say no. I just need to ask you, and it's okay. You can say no. Then I'd like you to write a story for Red Phone Box. Because he knew about it. He had
Yeah,
written
yeah.
about it on his blog. And he looked for a minute, and then he was like, how many words does it need to be? I was like, oh my God, he's going to say yes. So
Yeah.
I'm
It's not
trying
no.
to hold myself down and not scream
Right.
like a maniac.
You can write it between whiskies, it's fine.
So he actually wrote it. I told him because I was trying to make it something that he would not say no to. I said 300 words. He was like,
300?
"Oh, I can write 300 words."
That's nothing.
No, I know. He wrote more than that. And then when I told him that it was going to be, he was like, "You don't really need to put my name in big letters on the cover unless it's going to be in bookstores." And I was like, "It is." And he was like, "You should have told me. I would have written something longer."
That's good though. It's good. It's clear that that you've got a lot of goodwill from authors, friends or not, that contribute to the projects. So that must be reassuring, I guess, for you as an editor, because this is your day to day as well as your passion. So
Yeah, I see that I'm getting there. And actually, I have a lot of confidence in my editing work. I mean, it's it's a different thing when I'm writing. I mean, you know what it's like when you have to like talk about your writing and say, "Oh, I feel good about it" or whatever. You might say, "This is sort of how I am about my." Well, I think I'm a pretty good writer. I'm not the worst writer ever.
Well, well. Congratulations, you've now met him.
No, I'm sure that's not true. But being an editor, I know that I'm good at it. I have a lot of confidence because I've done it crazy things with people's work that really was not
Yeah,
anywhere near good enough.
I mean, like I said, I am definitely very, very green in this field. So to me, it was really fascinating to see what an editor brings to something. Sort of working on a project and being passionate about it as a new author, and you're very confident with your work, perhaps even naively so, and then having an editor very, I suppose, in the best way, they're trying to make your work the best it can be. And at first, it did definitely sort of take me back, when I got a lot of notes, and I'm sure you've had plenty of these conversations with similar people, and it's sort of that kind of, it's not personal, but let's be honest, that's rubbish. And,
Well, I'm going to say this, and some people would feel differently. Some people want their editor to be like crack down hard on them. And I think I have to be honest, but I think there's a level of over the top honesty where if you actually say to the person, your writing is no good, a lot of creative people are extremely sensitive. And if you say that to them, even though they're like, okay, they will internalize it and you'll
yeah.
screw them up for a long time. So I don't ever say that to anyone. If feel like I have to say that, I go in a closet and yell it into the corner where no one can hear me. But
I got, after about 6 months of sitting in a corner rocking back and forth crying, I got over it. It's fine. It's But yeah, no, it's fascinating just seeing like the notes that the editor sort of gives, and the detail and kind of how it changes the document. It was even in my early stages is fascinating. So to obviously the level you are in, I'm not going to kiss your ass too much, so don't. But it's it must be really sort of, I don't know, just really, really cool to see sort of, these writers come out and their stories be absolutely honed, really, really polished. And
yeah, I
I have
do.
that.
I love doing it. And especially with someone who's totally into it themselves. It's much easier. My ideal client is one that really wants to learn how to make their story the best that they can.
Yeah.
And so I feel that all my work is put to its best purpose. It doesn't mean they have to accept every idea that I have, but they will try my ideas. And if they're like, I can't really figure out how to do this, either we can abandon some bit of what I've said. Like, not every idea has to be there.
No.
So, and it's cool how you can start with you can have the story that you had at the beginning, and it can be, it's okay. And then you move some stuff around, and you take some things out, and then you do some line edits, and it's freaking amazing. It's like, that is a great story. There's a guy who has become my regular client who I love to work with him because he's so good at taking the directions, and we have a back and forth where it just goes perfectly. And he said to me the other day that the last time you edited one of my things, that's the best thing I've ever written, and it's because of you. Like, he put it up on Amazon for sale, and he got straight 5-star reviews.
Fantastic.
And I love doing that. I love making that happen for people. I mean, I'm not making it happen. I'm helping it happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I suppose hypothetically then, I mean, I'm sure you've had it before then. So if I'm sure you've got stubborn clients as well as equally fantastic ones. How do you sort of broach that? That they're obviously they sort of bring you in to edit and help and sort of sharpen it up. But eventually, if they're not willing to listen to the feedback, how do you approach that?
Well, in the end, the manuscript is theirs. I'm talking now about people who pay me to edit, not
Yeah.
people that we publish. If we publish them, they have to listen to me because otherwise their book won't get published. But if they pay me and they don't want to take my advice at all,
Yeah.
I will try to talk them into it. I will try to explain why I'm saying what I'm saying. Often, once they're like, no, I don't want to do this, and then when I point out, well, look right here and look at this, don't you think that those two things are conflicting with each other? And they'll say something like, well, when you put it that way, okay, let's change
Yeah.
it. But, but sometimes it doesn't work, and they insist on leaving it, and it's theirs. In the end, it does not belong to me. It belongs to them. They have to trust me in order for it to work. They
Yeah.
have to put themselves into it. I can't make them.
Yeah. Yeah. So the difference here, then, you've got Ghostwoods, that's yours and Tim Diodopoulos. Is that right? Or Diodopoulos?
Pteropolis. Yeah, Pteropolis.
Diodopoulos? Pronunciation. Tremendously English. It's that's there's obviously the passion project. This is kind of where you both see sort of one of the futures of publication going. Um, so after this, then what's next? I suppose just how do you see it developing over the years?
You mean Ghostwoods?
Yeah.
Well, ideally, so we have all these goals that we would like to meet, like things that we want to be able to do, and certain things are required to get recognition from professional writing organizations like the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America
Hmm.
or Horror Writers of America. Those, or it doesn't have to be an American. It could be the British Fantasy Association. They have
Yep.
certain requirements, and we need to build our company up until we can meet those requirements. And then when people publish with us, they'll qualify to become members of those organizations. We're too
Yeah.
tiny right now to meet all of the requirements. So that's one thing. We also want to start doing audiobooks. Now, we
Yep.
started doing print last year. We would like to start doing audiobooks.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and there are other things that we might be able to do, but that we need to be bigger to do. But our main goal right now is to be able to get more publicity for the books in the way that traditional publishers do. Ebook
Yeah.
publishers have ways to get publicity that are specific to ebooks or self-published ebooks. But traditional
Yeah.
publishers basically use money to get more attention for books, and they have a
Always a
much
good way.
longer, yes, they have a much longer lead time up front. Like they have advanced reader copies ready 6 months before the book comes out, and they have them out there, and they're getting pre-publicity reviews from trade publications
Yeah.
and review blogs and magazines and other things, podcasts and talk
Yeah.
shows, and sending authors onto TV. Like we want to do that, but we have to build up to it slowly. We can't just do that out of clear blue nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, that was the other thing. I mean, that did shock me. I mean, my very first one came out probably like 3.5 months ago, and it's only now that the reviews are really starting to sort of hit because, of course, the lead time that it takes to, and it. obviously, again, I had that sort of naivety at the time where you think, yeah, I'll send it off, and someone's going to review it, and a week later, someone's going to post a review. But then you think of, well, you're number 7 in the queue, and of course, the book takes time. It's not like, a 5-minute exercise of their time.
Right.
It's an investment of their time. So it was, it's been a bit of a learning exercise, I suppose, from a very sort of, and I'm very much at the new end of this journey
Yeah.
compared to sort of some of the seasoned pros that you have the pleasure of dealing with. So and it's interesting to even sort of even those guys and gals, the ones that have been doing it for years and are really at the top end of their craft, still have to get their stuff out months and months in advance to kind of get the reviews and get the word out, which is just it's a fascinating thing, I guess, that I didn't really consider. And again, I guess that comes down to naivety more than anything, but just it's fascinating to me. I'm learning all about this stuff, so
Yeah.
it's
I don't know if you were listening yesterday when Richard Cadre was on, but he said he writes the Sandman Slim novels.
yeah,
Have you heard of those? He's just the 6th one came out, and he's in the process of writing the 7th one. He's only like 2/3 done writing it, and he said the cover is already done. The
yeah,
book hasn't even been written yet. He was like, marketing starts way before. This is going to be published next August.
yeah. It's mind-boggling how the machine that sort of I don't know, just powers and turns and gets behind it all. It's just I'm sort of getting to terms with it as one person. So yet alone, sort of when you've got an army of marketers and a publisher behind you, when it's scary as well as fascinating. It's an interesting thing. Is someone watching the X Factor behind you, by the way? Because someone looks like they're enjoying themselves.
No, I think it's Tim. He's watching a playthrough of a video game. He's not
Let's just
playing.
let's just say let's just say it's X Factor. It's much funnier.
He would never watch X Factor.
Yeah, well, you say that.
Well, as far as I know, maybe he's secretly
Well,
watching
exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly. I think every time you turn your back, he just turns over, and basically every time you turn around, he just turns back to Twitch. So
I'm
it's
going to send
excellent.
him a message that says, "Are you watching X Factor?"
Yeah.
Oh, Mulcher.
This is where he turns around and calls me a prick.
Tim, are you watching X Factor?
No. Christ.
God damn it.
Okay, I'm talking to Daniel Marc Chant from
Dan's
Twitter.
fine.
Yes.
Dan. And he said, "Is someone watching X Factor behind you?" And I said,
Interesting guess. It's an old Japanese horror game called Illbleed, which is famous mostly for being A, really bad, and B, really insane.
that's his favorite thing.
And so far we've had some clips of what looks like a badly animated little girl being put in a variety of really basically child abuse-like horror situations by her demented father, including being stalked by 9-foot spider-based doctors and stuff.
Spider
Not X Factor.
spider-based doctors? Sounds hideous.
Okay, well, yeah, it's all good. I suppose creative is one thing. So,
It is. He watches a lot of video game playthroughs.
I don't blame him. I'm a firm gamer myself, so. So you're on now so you'll be packing it in and then back on in the morning presumably, I guess, or something like that. Or
I'm gonna be back run in the morning. I'm going to go
Yeah.
off here. I have a guest scheduled to come on at midnight,
Mhm.
and who's coming on from Australia, so it'll be morning her time. And
Excellent.
she's a person whose book I edited. She was
Wow.
one of my clients, and she won the book that I worked on for won an award. She
That's
won
fantastic.
Romantic Novel of the Year with that book.
That's good. That's good. I mean, is it like I'm off? I've got the pleasure of going to Scardiff tomorrow, which is the horror festival in Cardiff. So
Huh.
um, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. So we'll see how that goes. But
Well, I
it's
hope you have fun.
uh, it's it'll be an experience. I can guarantee that. But
It what?
it'll be
What
an
can you?
experience.
Yes, it will be. Well, everything is an experience.
It is indeed. Cool. Right. Well, I'm going to sign out, my dear. So
Okay.
it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
All right.
And,
Thank you for
and
coming on.
no worries. And I hope Tim enjoys X Factor, and I hope his contestant wins. So good luck, and no doubt I'll catch up later. Take it easy,
Okay.
Salome. Bye bye.
Bye.